Hello, my name's Eamon McGuinness. I'm going to read some poems from my debut collection, The Wrong Heroes, which is forthcoming from SALMON Poetry. This is the opening poem of the collection, and it's called That's My Body. That's my body you saw floating, mentioned on the 9 o'clock news. Paint flecked, crow's feet, my body with its ripped flaws, lumps, long nails, bald head birthmark, coast road curves, sea view eyes, unpainted house, abandoned car, my body, bandwagoned, the one you see, the one you can't. Anywhere dry, take me. I'll make it work. I'll work. I'll lie down. I'll sleep. Anywhere dry. Anywhere. That was my body, squeezed into a tight-fitting drum. In a past life, I was suit-starched, pressed. That's all of me, swollen and broken. The way you can't tell these things if the eyes are closed. But I lived in space, and for a time, something held me from leaving. A body that lied to me. Newspapers and languages I couldn't understand. That's my body in photo of the year competitions, in the puddle push stroke of a close sea January, clouds on top like ceilings, but just to be in water, that's what I thought, just to be in water. No one to bury me. I learnt the word goodbye in every language, sorry in Greek and Turkish. I hid in the suburbs, in spare rooms, avoided emails, late nights, friends, family, the papers. Unlearnt words, erased thoughts. I found new heroes on stamps, at bus stops, in magazines. That's my body, the one you're still carrying, bulging, with the tag still on, documents lost, nails grown back, tongue freshly painted, my body, holding generations, forgotten. No one said it was mine, that I could keep it and use it as I wished. No one told me to look after it, that it was precious, unique, and only for me. My shoes aren't waterproof. My t-shirt is plain white, cheap but comfortable, and pasted onto my skin like a tattoo. I hear them above me, pulling, grabbing, lifting. Their talk is of the weekend. One of them is smoking. I can taste it. My eyes can't open to see. I hear him say, yes, you could put a suit on this one. He's ready to go now. Yes, just wake him up. Put a suit on him. You could take that body anywhere. Okay, I'm going to read a few poems, a couple of poems about my father, who was from Main Street in Rush. He passed away in 2010, so I have two poems about him. This is the first one, and it's called A Gift. There are battering low moments, but at times I think it's a gift as I cycle past the hospice, how he didn't end up there, that it didn't turn into home help, live-in carers, daily visits. I see myself turning into him, those dead air smells of novel reading on the toilet before bed, midweek, weekend newspaper catch-ups, setting the table at night for tomorrow's breakfast and shushing on the headlines. I missed summer that year, while autumn came with dust and trailing winds, which woke me with empty fireplace noises and someone downstairs stealing his things. The second one about my father is I'll just give a bit of context to it. So it's got some North County Dublin references. I wrote this sort of after it was in 2016, just when Ireland beat Italy in the European Championships, and the match was scheduled for a Sunday morning, and it clashed with the Blessing of the Graves, or as it's known, Cemetery Sunday. So as a family, we were sort of discussing how would we go to both watch the match and go to the Blessing of the Graves. So this is what happened, and this poem is called Cemetery Sunday. I think of him asking who Robbie Brady and Jeff Hendrick play for. I don't mention this or say much as we charge down the emptying, rain-splashed dual carriageway from Rush, only stopping for a quick nappy change in Turvey. We get back from the hit and run, pre-match flower drop, just in time for the build-up, predictions, lineups. We are where we need to be and finally settle into the day. On his first night down there, I worried for him like a mother. Now, I can't think of him anywhere. He goes unmentioned for the rest of the day. No one says his name, toasts him, or speaks of our morning trip. Even as the light fades, the shadows increase, and the French bury us and send us home. Yeah, I've got three poems now I'm going to read about about fatherhood. I've two small daughters, and I suppose these are three sort of early morning sleepy poems. The first one is called Lost Mornings. Fireplace breath, boiler cough, wind creeping under the door, the pebble crunch of a morning. Aggressive light snags at my sleep. The baby's heartbeat is a dog growl. In dreams, I follow a stevedore home through the Ringsend back streets. She is dressed in white and covered in dust. Downstairs, a family of mice had their necks broken 3 nights in a row. My twin hearts beat, murmur in their sleeps. Bleary-eyed and restless, I wait for them to wake. Around me is subtle movement, skull soft and eyes adjusting. I won't drop her. She's too small. I won't drop her. She's mine. I won't drop her. She's too light. I won't drop her. I won't. And the next one is called Alba, which is the name of my eldest daughter. So I wrote this one for her. Alba. The flat dregs of the morning finds me hanging around the entrances. The year kick-started. I am pushing, leaning in and whispering promises to you. In the windows, early lighted, I think the lads doing chin-ups are hanging themselves. Skips full of rubble and old children's toys, Christmas trees drag turkey-necked through the streets. There are ways, Alba, to reverse your days and its slidings. Every night is an emptying, each morning a re-entering. Never just live on your street. We can, with pressure, go from a gaggle to a scheme. And if they ask for gossip, criticism, idle speculation, turn back from those who wish to constantly remind you that we are all suburbed, clocked and grounded. And the last one in the baby section, this is the one I wrote this one quite recently. This is called Blood Harmonies. Early morning, I take the child and we walk to Spider Hill. In my bones sit remnants of the night with her, reflux dreams, devil's ivy, Judas trees. My steps are rusty. She holds my hand. Raindrop eyes on a killer stretch of road. Her legs fail near the river. The arms splay, the pits open. I exhale on the lift and carry her uphill. My feet are cool on the dew grass, the urban moon on top of the roofs. Prone to joy, we test our voices on the open air. Words of the future, tomorrow, mañana, later, luego. Our blood harmonies soar. I teach her nothing. She shows me what is around. I had stopped looking years ago. We don't linger at the peak. She should sleep now, but does not. I hold her like a newborn. The river is still. It is the morning of the year, and I am wantless. By sunrise, my legs are weakening. One morning, I will take this child and bring her home. The next poem is called The Hungry Gap, and I got the title from a friend of mine. He's a farmer called Shaughnessy, and I hadn't heard the term before, the Hungry Gap, which I learned was the time of the year where I suppose winter time, when things don't grow as well, things aren't growing as well in the ground. And I just thought it was a great title and a great phrase, and I knew straight away it was a poem. And this is called The Hungry Gap. I am stumbled easy in this weather, airlocked, too long indoors. Our night language needs relearning. I will take my gestures offline. My ambition wet-housed, I walk into a slow lighting, a gradual slackening of the dark. The fact of you has me sneaking past corners of peers, scrunched and huddled, heads down, phones gripped, poised to message. I bypass the suburban queues, stretching around the corners for last-minute school place christenings. Near the river, I watch my step, check the urge to gravitate towards some sort of flow, the instinct to breathe in, be water-woken, cleaned and purified by a hit of cool shock. Out and open to the nod, the bump in. I am returning, heart open, in the hungry gap. I think I'll just read a couple more. I'll just read 3 more. This one was this poem is called The Border, and it came to me when I was on a trip to Spain. I was staying in Galicia, just at the border, pretty much in a town called Salvatierra de Minho, which is right on the River Minho, which separates Spain and Portugal. So we took a drive into the Portuguese side and back into Spain through the mountains, and this poem came to me afterwards. It's called The Border. In the shade, we drank penguins and watched the black widows tramp through the town. We played chess, broke sugar packets into our palms, scattered the dust on the stone steps, and waited for the wolves. The limestone gave way to eucalyptus, ankle deep in forest fire ash. Our noses took us north, past road dogs and the horned barrosaus, until we stood, months later, facing homewards, our backs to the Minho, the water rising as high as the streetlights, while the children swam over and back across the border. The next poem is called A Plumber in Aleppo. If I fail to talk of bombs and sea crossings, forgive me. Our sink has been blocked for months, and we have a wet patch on the ceiling from the upstairs shower. But the names of those unvisited towns and cities lie on my tongue, and when I think of Aleppo, I think of Gort, Chum, Atay, Bunkrana, places I've not visited either. I can't think of the streets or buildings, but try to focus on one person, a plumber in Bunkrana. I rang ours months ago. He said he'd be here last week. I'm afraid to call again, worried he'd pick up, come around. I'm no good at the small talk. I'd have no idea what to say about it all. No way of asking him where he'd been, or how to speak to him about everything he'd seen. Okay, just before I read my last poem, I just want to thank Enda for having me at the festival and Jesse at SALMON Poetry. It's been great to read. As I said, I've connections to North County Dublin, so it's lovely to be involved. This is the final poem in the collection. It's called A Lifting. Find something that pushes against its given ground, the space it's been born into, something which rises and flies on its own, that challenges the earth in soft bursts, something to look after, that will lift you, sustain you through night feeds and unwashed coal-faced days, something that moves you, cleans you, and kicks you clear of yourself. Thank you.